Hey kids, I hope you're ready to answer the question, what are verbs? That's what we're going to be learning about in this grammar video. Stay tuned. This is the foldable that I'm going to be using in this video. If you don't have it, you can click the link in the description box below and go grab yourself a copy. And then you're just going to cut out around this bold outside square. So you're just going to cut that out. Don't cut out any of the dotted lines. You're going to cut out the title here for verbs. And then these little pieces over here, you're just going to cut this out and then you're going to cut them all apart. So you'll end up with all these little pieces. And then I'll tell you exactly what we're going to do next. If you don't have the foldable, you can still watch and follow along and see what you learn. All right, now that you've got this cut out, you're going to fold on this black line. You're going to fold it backwards and then forwards. And then you're going to turn it and fold on the other bold line next to the title verbs, backwards and forwards. And then you're going to put glue just on this center strip. That's the only place that gets glued down. You want to glue it really well and then smooth it out. And then you're going to cut these little dotted lines. So go ahead and snip on each side the dotted line. All right, then you can open up these little flaps like this. We're going to glue down the title verbs up here at the top. And then we've got one more thing we're going to do. I like to outline these little boxes and flaps with a pencil, just so that when I have it open, I can see exactly where I'm going to put my little pieces. So if you want to do that, you can do that really quickly. Now, we're just about ready to get started with our lesson. Go ahead and pause the video if you need to catch up. Now we're ready to talk about verbs. So a verb is just an action. It's anything that you could do, or in the case of this foldable, it's what these animals could do. So it's just anything that they could physically do with their body. So like a cat could meow, or a bear could growl, or you could walk, or you could jump. That's what a verb is. All right, now that we've got this foldable glued down, you're going to think about what each of these animals can do. We've got a bird, a dog, a bear, and a cat. Now, you've got a lot of verbs here, and you need to have all of these cut out, these little pieces, and you're going to look at them, pick one up at a time, and you are going to decide, is this something that a bird would probably do? Is this something that a dog would probably do? And just lay them down under here. Don't glue them down yet. So pause the video and sort through all of those, and then when you unpause the video, I'll go over them with you, and you can see if you got them in kind of the same place I did. Some of them are probably going to be just as logical with one animal as they would with another, but some of them are pretty much have to be with one animal. So just go ahead and pause the video, lay them down where you think they go, and then come back and we'll go over it together. Okay, so we're going to go over these together and see if we got the same ideas. So I'm going to look at this one. This is climb. Now, they could probably go under cat, but I think of bears as being really good climbers, so I'm going to put it as a verb that a bear could do. A bear could climb. So we're going to put it right there. All right, let's look at another one. How about this one? Bark. Well, we know that's a dog. Bark is going to go under dog for sure. How about build? Which one of these animals actually spends time building something? Yeah, it's a bird. They always build a nest in the springtime, so they have a place for their eggs. And what about jump? When I think of the best jumper, I think of a cat. They can jump so high and it's so graceful. So I'm going to put jump under cat. How about perch? Perch is when you are sitting right up on something, and I always think of perch as going with a bird because they perch on the tree branches. They hold onto it with their feet and they just sit there really steady. So that's not something that we really think of another animal doing. Okay, how about swim? Well, we can definitely cross off cat, and most birds don't swim. Bears do swim, but I think of dogs as probably being the best swimmers, but it could go under bear too. What about catch? Let's see, an animal that is really good at catching things. Well, I could think that would be a bird if it was a worm. It could be a cat if it was a mouse. It could be a dog too if you're throwing a ball, but I was thinking of a bear catching things, but it could logically go under any of them. How about dig? Well, there's one animal that I have had in my life that is always digging up holes in the yard, and that is a dog. Dogs are great at digging. Okay, here's an easy one. How about purr? We know that cats are the only animal that does that, or the only one we may know about. Chirp, that's definitely going to be a verb that goes under bird. What about whine? Which animal is it that makes a little whining sound when you're either not giving him a treat or not paying attention to him? That would go under dog. What about hunt? Now, I think that we could say cats and dogs both do hunt small animals, but when I think of one of these animals as being really good hunters, I would think of a bear. But it could make sense under a different one. What about lick? Which animal gives you big sloppy kisses and licks you? I would think it would be a dog. And tweet, that's something that a bird can do. And prowl. Well, I think of my cat going out on the prowl, looking for something they can get into, something they can explore, but most often something they can catch. That's what they go and do at night. My cats do anyway. They go and kind of hunt out in the woods for little creatures they can find. They're on the prowl. Now, you saw this one and you probably thought, oh, this isn't a verb, this is a noun. But fish is a noun if we're using it, talking about a fish in the water. But in this case, it's actually the act of doing something. So we're saying that one of these animals can fish, as in they can catch fish. When you go fishing, you're doing that. That's something you're doing. So which one of these animals would be really good at fishing? Well, I think a cat maybe could. Probably not this type of bird. Maybe a dog, but not really. But bears are actually really good at fishing. And there's a lot of bears that live around rivers where the salmon come. And so they kind of wait around for the salmon to come by, and then they catch tons and tons of fish. And that's how they can put some weight on when they're so thin after they wake up in the spring. Chew. Which animal chews on stuff all the time and maybe even chews on some furniture in your house and gets in trouble for it? That would be a dog. Okay, what about pounce? When I think of pouncing, I think of my cat scrunching down to the ground and then jumping up and attacking something. Maybe it's a bug, maybe it's a grasshopper, maybe it's just a leaf blowing in the wind. Okay, smash. Which one of these animals do you think would be the most destructive if they wanted to? Well, it would be a bear. If I think about a bear getting into a campsite, they would smash and destroy everything trying to find whatever they wanted. All right, this one's pretty easy. Fly. The only one of these animals that can do this is the bird. And how about wag? Which animal wags their tail when they're happy? It's a dog. What about growl? Now, technically, I would say that all of these animals could growl, except for the bird. But if I was thinking about a growl and looking at these animals, I would pick bear. All right, what about dance? Do you see any of these animals dancing? Well, I specifically came up with this one for the bird. And if you don't think birds can dance, maybe I'm going to have to prove it to you. I rest my case. All right, let's look at another one. What about claw? One of these animals spends a lot of time sharpening their claws on trees or wood or like a scratching post, and that's a cat. Okay, what about hibernate? Hibernate means that they go to sleep all winter long and they just live off of their body fat because they won't have enough food to feed them through the winter. So for hibernate, that's a bear. Now, not all bears do, but a lot do. But dogs and cats and birds don't hibernate. Okay, what about beg? Which one of these animals might sit on their back legs and lift their paws up and look at you really pathetic and go, please, 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 with their eyes? That would be a dog. So we're going to put that under the dog. What about flutter? I think of flutter or like flapping. They're fluttering their wings. That would be the bird. And then meow, that's an easy one. Obviously, it goes under the cat. And what about eat? Well, they all eat, don't they? But which animal has to eat a lot to get ready for the winter and then has to eat a lot after they've hibernated in the winter and they've lost all their weight? That is the bear. So yes, logically, that is a verb that could go under any of them, but it's one that we really think of with a bear because they've got to put weight back on after they've lost weight over the winter, or they've got to get weight on before they can hibernate. And the last one we have is peck. That's when a bird takes its beak and pecks at the ground to pick up little pieces of food or bugs or seeds that have fallen. Okay, so we've got them all under there. Now, you might have had a few in a different spot than me. Most of them could have gone in more than one spot, but some of them had to be with the animal they were with. But these are all verbs. These are all action words. These are things that these animals can do, and a lot of these things you can do too. You can pause right now if you need to look over these again. Thanks so much for joining me for this video. Now, if you have a little bit of time, you can color your pictures and make it look fancy. Be sure to join me next time as we learn about a new part of speech. Be sure to click subscribe and hit the bell notification so you'll be notified whenever I post new videos. And don't forget to check out my TPT store. It's in the link in the description box, and you can see my other activities.